Our existence, you see, is something that is spontaneous.
So today we're going to talk about intra-abdominal pressure. When we see clients, sometimes we get a spill to the forward and we leak in the back. Sometimes there's a leak to the side, left or right, or compression in the front. So what we want to do is build a sphere of expansion in a 360. And what that does is it attaches our pelvic bowl to our rib bowl, makes us structurally sound and stable. So this can help with anything from therapeutics to strength training to CrossFit, combatives, anything. So the first thing we'll do is go over what we're using. We've got a lacrosse ball for release work, band to test expansion all the way around. We can use elastic band or we can use a yoga band without elasticity. We're also going to use a pretty heavy weighted ball. So the first thing we're going to do is lay on the back and test the front side expansion. So we'll set a ball on the belly. First thing you want to be able to do is, without moving the chest, we want to be able to breathe the ball up to the ceiling with no movement up here. So that's step one. Step two is you want to notice where that ball goes, left or right. So mine's going over to the right, which could say I have a problem releasing this right side pressure and helping that right side expand. So I'd want it to go straight up. I'm using my fingers to help that. So if you see that kind of imbalance, again, that right side wasn't expanding enough to send the ball straight up. So I'm going to take this lacrosse ball and I'm going to set that between the hip and the low ribs, right into that piece. And then we'll lay on the lacrosse ball, go down. It should feel pretty intense. I want to breathe that ball into the floor like I'm trying to push it through the floor. It'll feel pretty intense, so loosen up to it, increments, and try to breathe it through. We'll do 3 to 5 breaths there. Feels pretty gnarly. And then I'll hop up off that lacrosse ball, grab this guy, see if we can go up. So now to test if I was getting it pushing over to the right, I'd want to get this ball. Now I'd want to push it off to the left. That's how I'd know if that pressure is getting easier to build on this side. I'll do that again. I used a little bit of my hips. Now I can do it on that. So what you'd want to be able to do is put a pretty heavy weight on your stomach and be able to breathe it left and also be able to breathe it to the right. And checking with clients, seeing where they're at with that or on yourself is always a good step. So the next one, that is the front side expansion. Now we're going to go over the back side expansion with the exercise I call the egg roll. So what you're going to do is lay on your back. You'll pull yourself into an egg shape. You're going to make sure that there's a lot of abdominal activation in the front and you feel your obliques quite a bit. We'll lean to the side to where you can just balance, and I'll show you from the front. We're leaning that way, but we're not falling over. What you want to be able to do is feel your pressure, or the pressure expansion in the low back, push you all the way over on an inhale. So what we'll do is we'll be here, and that'll throw me over, and then you do that on the other side, coming over. And what you might notice with some clients or on yourself is that when you go into that position and you get here, they can't breathe themselves over. So what you want to do is help them build that up over time. So a good way to do that is a lacrosse ball right at the low back, kind of above the dimple in the pelvis, on that small part of the back, sitting on that guy, and then just giving it a light breathing, trying to push that ball through the floor. What they're going to feel is the low back is expanding out into the ball, like you're trying to push that through the floor once again. So my right side is also a little weaker today. Taking a few breaths there to open that up. Now, when you go back into the egg roll position, it might throw you a little better and help. And so that's how we know that the low back is, again, expanding and helping fill up so we're not here. So people with a lot of anterior pelvic tilt, usually it's really hard for them to build pressure into the back, but it should look like get nice space. Imagine someone's going to punch you in the kidneys or something, you want to keep them out of there. So after those two, we go with the band to make sure we can do the global pressure system. So we go across the back where we just went into, and across the front, again, that space between the hips and the ribs. And we're going to go across like that. What we want to do is feel our hands get closer together on the inhale, and then get further away from each other on the exhale. So that will look like this. And if that's too difficult, kneeling, you can always go on the back. It's a little easier to build that pressure. So again, this will help you with anything from therapeutics to strength training to Olympic lifting. If there's a leak in that pressure system, you're going to have problems down the road, and getting this online before anything else is a really good idea.